Hi and welcome to Quantum Art. I'm Wendy from the Indigo Doors. I'm a channel, I'm a seer, I'm obviously a painter, where I kind of bring in new information and imagery and energy to help us on this spiritual awakening. It's not always an easy process, bringing in more light and integrating with a new reality, and so that's what this channel is about. So if you like these topics, please like and subscribe. This episode, I'm going to be sharing information about this painting here. It's called Awakening to Purpose. It was created for October of 2024. But no matter where or when you're finding yourself, watch this video. There's going to be something in here for you. There's 8 major kind of themes that Spirit wants me to talk about to help us. And that is how realities are splitting, how we need to really be staying in our lane and focusing on our own internal healing, our service to humanity, and figuring out our passion and our purpose. There's a huge transformational energy going on. There's dragon energy is here. Another topic we're going to be going over this episode is all this new energy and how it's affecting our intuition. And lastly, the no thing energy, kind of symbolized here by this black sphere. So the unknown, this unknown element, we're going to dive deep into that. So stay tuned, and we're going to evolve on all of these topics. All right, so for those of you that don't know me, I am an artist that I set my intention and consciousness into a deep meditative practice of just connecting with my own higher self and other sentient beings, and what it is we need to know as we move forward through this spiritual expansion. We are splitting realities right now, so meaning we're kind of moving through this process of old versus new. And this month and this time in particular, we're kind of, if there's like 2 timelines happening, or like an old earth and a new earth kind of energy, there's this experience where we're having both at the same time. So these times are kind of challenging because we can feel the old and the new at the same time. And so we're kind of straddling the fence, or some people describe it as trains, like one's an old train and one's a new train, and you are invited to move to this new train or this new track or this new path. And this new energy is where, less victimization, less blame, less fear, and moving into responsibility and co-creation and love, and consciousness and compassionate action, and things of creating a beautiful new earth, like heaven on earth kind of energy. And so yes, please come over here. But moving from fear into this is not always easy, especially as a human being, if you've experienced trauma, or you have in your Akashic records or through your ancestors or your lineage a lot of fear-based karma. This path splitting is also about removing or releasing karma. That's part of this 5D, or this new earth track, is releasing karma. And so to do that, you do have to do that intentionally. You don't always have to do it intentionally, they're telling me, but it does help. So if you're listening to this and this finds you, you can intentionally get this assistance to release this karma, and even old fears that are through your ancestral line. In sitting with that intentionally, so maybe throughout your line you've experienced lack, or throughout your line you've experienced a lack of vocal expression, or a lack of ambition or drive. And those are something that has been passed on through generation to generation, or anger, or whatever it is, and you want to release that so you can move forwards and be more of who you are. In some ways, we're just shedding light and love into these areas of our bodies, and energetically, but multidimensionally, because as you're choosing to release these things, it is affecting everybody in your line, which is a very powerful, powerful thing. The splitting of these realities is also part of splitting the realities, splitting part of being able to choose between the old and the new, or our human experience during this time, is that we will find ourselves in old fear-based behaviors or thinking or feeling, and oscillating between the old and the new. And so it may feel like you're moving 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and that's not really the case. It's more illusionary in some ways, where it's really coming up for you to make a decision. Are you going to keep following these fear-based ways of thinking and perceiving reality? And this is where it gets trippy, because in that old story, you do really believe it. You do really believe that lack existed, and it probably did. But then you have to, in these moments of experiencing whatever that may be, of saying, no, but I'm choosing something different. I'm going to choose to have faith. I'm going to choose love, not fear. It's not easy. I'm right here with everyone. Like me, I'm having to choose abundance over and over again. I was just doing a ancestral line where starvation was a huge experience, not only in this current life of mine, where we never had enough money for food and things like that, but in many, many, many lives. And it's shifting my relationship with food, because I'm always worried about where my food is. It's very interesting. And so I might have those experiences, let's say, or that fear around it, but saying, no, all is well. I am safe. I am abundant. All my needs are met. And really noticing these subtle things of my behaviors and my thoughts. So it does take self-awareness, and moving into this space of choosing something differently as I'm feeling and experiencing starvation, or the fear of starvation. So it's kind of moving through it. That's how we're integrating, and then we're also like consciously choosing a new way of being in this new path. So in some ways, this time right now is like a turning point. So we're literally at the most kind of condensed fear and light at the same time, where you're being asked to know you can choose something differently. So this is about cleansing your Akash, so you can step into what this painting is. And that's why we're talking about it first. We need to kind of, this is where we're at. We're in this of choosing yourself and your purpose in your life and your authentic expression over and over again. But we're having to cleanse and kind of release some of these old karmic trenches. There's been many people channeling that have talked about how this new age of miracles is about not having karma anymore, and this not having karma is choosing it consciously. And we've never had help like this before, where we can truly shift and change our entire destiny and our trajectory. So please manifest. Let go of all of these old stories and these old themes that have maybe you've been carrying for lifetimes, and then through your own ancestry of like your grandmother and your grandfathers have been carrying for thousands of years. So in some ways, we're shifting from this old paradigm of this victimization, of this warlike thinking, from a global scale into a new earth where we be open to the possibility of a different reality? Can we be open to the possibility where war doesn't exist? Now, some might not even think that that's possible. And I'm encouraging us to allow for it to be a possibility, just in the creative sense, because it is possible. Even from a mathematical standpoint, from a probable standpoint, it might be small, but it's still a probability, so we have to still consider it. So just being open to the possibility. And so splitting realities, choosing you. So we are starting the story there where we want you to choose you. And as that's this other theme this time in our progression is choosing you. Can you focus on you? Can you get back to balance? In choosing you and staying in your lane, meaning not worrying about what somebody else is doing in another country far away, like just focusing in on you. And if you can shift your fear-based thinking into love-based thinking and hopeful and being faith-based and being joyful, that's going to actually help the planet so much more right now during these kind of tumultuous times. And that's really what this painting is called. It's called Awakening to Purpose. So it really is important to you to cultivate this sacred temple within and this going within. So part of the messaging that Spirit really is coming through strong in the last several weeks has been, we need to change our behavior. We need to cultivate and kind of master the self. We need to get a hold of our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, not in a controlling kind of way, but in a kind of forming, kind of consciously co-creating with the universe. So aligning all of our thoughts and our feelings to love, it's not allowing the negative ones to come, because that's part of this cleansing and the healing. We have to allow them to rise up and have an expression. But it is about, as you're allowing these feelings and things to arise, is moving them eventually to this place of what is it that you're wanting to create, and that's this red tent. It's like, no, what are you creating? What kind of container are you creating for your reality? You're not a victim to anything outside of yourself. We are empowered to make and create the world in which we live. So if there's something that you don't like, that's valid and that needs to be expressed. So what can we do to make it better, right? What can we do in a loving, compassionate action kind of way, make this better, that allows for healing, that allows for things to be aligned in a healthy, loving kind of way? That's what this is about. It's about getting your thoughts in alignment. So where do your thoughts go? Do they go to these old trenches, these old stories that we're trying to release and get rid of? So being mindful that some of this is all about bad habits. For me especially, this has been a theme this month, where it's like, your bad habits of like, I'm just letting my mind go wherever, or I'm letting all my behaviors do whatever. So instead of like creating discipline and creating, hey, no, I want to start my day with a walk or a meditative walk, and that has really helped me. And that's what Spirit's saying, is like, we need to create these spiritual disciplines to create this beautiful container to allow us to succeed. It's basically setting us up to succeed in going within and creating this awareness, this self-awareness. Because without those things, without knowing who you are, how are you going to know what your purpose is? And that's really what this tent is also about. So new disciplines, new behaviors. When you do align your thoughts and you allow for your feelings to have an expression, and you start kind of creating these positive spiritual disciplines, meaning like you create a safe space for yourself in your world. Create a safe space. If you're not in a safe space in your reality, that's something that needs to be addressed. If you are creating negativity in your thoughts, that needs to be addressed. If you aren't aware of how you feel, that needs to be addressed. We need to get back into balance, and that's really a lot what this painting is about. It's like cultivating this spiritual and self-mastery. When you do this, when you align your thoughts and your actions and your feelings to your present, you actually create this tetrahedron shape, or the sacred geometry, where you're vibrating and your frequency is at such a beautiful rate that that's where it's like your sweet spot. That's where you create synchronicities, that's where you're able to manifest very quickly, and it's in that state where they're really asking you to go, because it's also in that state where you can find your joy, and that's where you can follow your map to follow your joy. That's your purpose. And if we could all get back into alignment, we would know who we are and staying in our lane, meaning like, I'm meant to focus here. Let's say I'm a boat maker. I'm not a boat maker, but let's say I was a boat maker, and I'm going to be the best freaking boat maker there is. That way it allows for other people to be like, whew, great, I don't really want to make boats, but I was making boats. I didn't really want to make boats. I'm actually feeling called to make music. right? And so we can get back into balance. And it sounds like a really like over romanticized kind of solution, but it's like, no, when we know ourselves and then we back it up with our action and we allow ourselves to get and do what it is that we want to do, it's a natural harmony on the planet. There's a natural balance and harmony to everybody and everything, and we're so out of balance because we don't even know how to listen to who we truly are. And that's part of what we're practicing doing. Not out of judgment, we're figuring it out. And there's a lot of reasons of how and why we got here. There's no shame in that. But this is where we're at right now, and we're getting back into balance. And it's important. So this month it's asking, what brings you joy? What is it that you want to do? So these are good questions to be asking yourself, and where do you not allow yourself to do that? Where can you allow yourself to do that more? It's not like you should be here already if you're not here yet. It's just an invitation to kind of explore these things so you can allow for yourself to be happy. Because the universe wants you to be happy. Because when you're happy, that you're also vibrating at a beautiful frequency, and that is contagious, and it helps the planet and everyone around you. So that is another focus. So focus on you. What is it that brings you joy? Are you creating this spiritual practice where you're going within and listening to and bearing witness to your thoughts and your feelings, and then aligning your action with how you feel, backing up how you feel and what you think with beautiful action. Some would say that is the alignment of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, knowing thyself and then backing it up. And that is Christ consciousness, and that's truly what we're entering into. And we need to just keep practicing this in our own world, in our own moment, in our own present now. And the more we do that, the more we cultivate this momentum and this frequency of heaven on earth, because it is within us. As we do that, this other theme is our service to humanity. They say prosperity and abundance is aligned with service. How can we help? What is our purpose in helping humanity? What is our place within the tribe, let's say? And it's almost like, what's your servitude? Instead of gratitude, your servitude, like, how do you want to help? How can you help? And it could be sharing beautiful music, because we do need that too, right? And trusting that and not devaluing what it is that you want to bring. That's been a theme for myself is, when we're kind of bombarded with our family culture and our society culture that deems, let's say, art as not having as much value, I've had to overcome a lot of restricted beliefs around me being successful as an artist. Those are real things that I've had to overcome, and those are not easy when there's a part of me that truly believes that it lacks value. And so I've had to reprogram my thinking, and going way back to my childhood of allowing myself to have my own unique expression and valuing that. And I'm still getting better at that every day. And some would say that that's having self-worth, but it is shifting your belief. So looking at your belief systems around your joy and what it is that you want to do and how you can serve, right? So how can you serve? How can you help? Not everybody's meant to volunteer and go, be part of the AmeriCorps. But if you're feeling called to do that, right? So wherever you're being called, that's also an aspect of connecting with others in our community. We are meant to do this together, especially in this new 5D expansion. We're meant to co-create together. So getting together with people in your community, like-minded people, whatever and whoever that may be for yourself, and get together and start co-creating and kind of expressing in the same kind of joy that you have, that kind of helps everybody. Even if it's just playing music, right? It really is helping us move and shift into this new earth. And so how can you help? That's another theme. So those are questions that we are being asked to ask ourselves. Okay, so we have this image here, and I'm going to have a close-up for you to see. She's obviously in prayer, so your own kind of going within, even if it's more of a meditation of just going within and mastering the internal world. They really need us to understand that our external world is an expression of our internal world and our internal beliefs, and we need to get a hold of those. And that's part of this transformational process that we're in right now. So as we do this, it's obviously opening our crown. It's creating this connection with the earth in our physical expression by creating the tent. But as you see it, it's opening up our higher self chakra, which is a little bit, you can't really see in the photo, but it's a little bit above our heads, like right up here. This chakra is actually being activated, where we're connected to our higher selves in a greater way. And if you can see, I'm going to show you a close-up of this. There's these snakes that are coming over to the side, over to where this dragon is. And this is an important time because it represents this reiteration of transformation. A volcano represents transformation. It also represents passion. And it is a destructive energy too, so meaning it is burning away things that are no longer serving us. That's a huge theme this month. I mean, that was some of the underlying meaning in everything that I've been saying, is like you are letting go of the things that no longer serve you. It's kind of letting go of old, outdated stories. This is a huge theme going on right now, and we've never had this much help. So really look at what those might be for yourself and consciously say, hey, I'm getting rid of these. No more, thank you. No more, thank you. And these snakes, same thing. It's this, and it's the number 4. So the number 4 is about this stability. And it's funny that it is these 4 snakes of stability, let's say, are near this dragon lava volcano energy, because that's not very stable. So it's this reiteration of saying, hey, we need this eruption to create stability, meaning it is kind of getting tumultuous so that you can create peace. So you can create, if you can look, the other side of this, even geometrically, is this beautiful star and light, but in the earth itself. So it's this new birth within the earth in this lush green hill. So it was like this, just like in Hawaii and other places that have a lot of volcanic activity, though there is this danger to it, it also creates this beautiful lush energy and like foliage and beautiful species. It has very, very mineralized. It's very potent with minerals. The soil is very potent with minerals, so it creates these very lush gardens and lush botanical and like species and trees and then insects and birds and animals. So there's this correlation between destruction and then creating stability. We need that to create life. So it is this play on just the energy of this planet that we have to destroy to create death and life. And so trusting in this process, it's not necessarily comfortable, and they're not saying that you need to gaslight your experience. Allow for however it is that you're feeling. If you're scared, it's okay to be scared, and owning that. It's okay to be uncomfortable through this transformation. It is uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. But allowing for you, wherever you're at, but know that that's happening. And there's this beautiful dragon energy. It is purple, so it's of a higher frequency. It is of this chakra color, of these 2 chakra colors, right? So it's really trusting, and it's healing too. The purple's healing, color of healing. So it's saying, no, all is well. Trust in this process. You might not understand it, but all is well. So hold this frequency of trust and faith and love amidst this chaos, and sending that out. Other aspects of this is by cultivating this inner temple, right? We have, it opens your crown. So when you create and cultivate this spiritual temple within, it does open your crown chakra. And they're saying right now that as we're opening our crown chakra, we're able to bring in more light of who we truly are than we've ever been able to before. And it's going to emit this light out. And look at the light from the crown is igniting this, the volcano, and this. So again, it's this reiteration of like, no, remember, it's okay. Like, remember, you chose to come here at this time, right? You know that, like, all is well. Like, things are not as they seem. Trust. Like, everything is unfolding perfectly. Now, consciously keep choosing this love and this new earth. It's our success in this way is inevitable. So there's this gold shield on this side that I want to bring to our attention, and that is this ancient knowledge and ability to connect with the divinity. It is in the area of the ear chakra, which we have ear chakras. There's like a secondary chakra, and it is about really being able to tap into listening to other dimensions, because we have a lot of help, and there's a lot of beautiful sentient beings in other dimensions that are trying to help us, trying to come through. And many people practice cultivating this connection, and they're meant to. And so this is kind of being activated right now, and this is part of this expansion of moving more into it. But the only way you can get to this is by doing this. You can't fake this, and this is the thing. You could listen to this and be like, yeah, I'm doing that, but if you're not really taking the time to really sit with yourself in silence, going within and having these conversations with yourself and loving your darkness, if you're not really doing that on a regular basis, like, you can't fake that. That's really what they're asking us to do. And can you commit to yourself? Like, personally, I get better at that every day. Like, I'll go 3, 4, 5 days of doing that. I'm constantly doing that, actually. But like, really sitting down and meditating. If I'm moving through something, I tend to do that a little bit more to help integrate and kind of release those things. But are you committed to that kind of relationship with yourself as well? That's what they want. You can't fake this. Are you really loving yourself? Do you really know how you're feeling right now, today, in this moment? How do you feel? Maybe you're bored. I don't know. Hopefully not. So as you're doing this, you can activate this symbol here, which is about really listening to spirit, really channeling and bringing in new information from the other side. That's available to all of us. And if you're being called, or if you're being called to this image, this is really what you're being asked to step more into as you cultivate this inner temple, right? And you can see here, so next we have these purple crystals, and then we have this no thing. And along the same lines, noticing that the importance of the same line here is this breath of the smoke coming out of her hands. Like, she's basically going like this, right? So you can see me, right? Hopefully like this. So it's kind of like going within and kind of bowing in some ways, and around her is this breath that's happening. So really understanding the importance of our breath and what that means. So breath is life, and if we can control our breath and really kind of use it, like somatic breathing is really hot right now, partly because we're tapping into the power of our breath and how we can use it to heal. And that is life force itself. It's kind of like this connection between our outside world and our inner world, and it creates this loop. And in some ways, it is our connection between life and death. We're filling up, and then we're letting it go. And it's like this rhythm. In some ways, I'm having to talk around it, right, of the power of what our breath is. Breath is life, but it's also death. And that in between the words and what I'm saying is what this no thing is, what this sphere is representing, this unknown element. And we need this unknown element, meaning we have to be open to the possibility that we don't have any idea. Because in that is the magic, is the creativity, is the possibility, and of anything and everything, always, in every way, right? And so that is here, and they're wanting us to tap into it a little bit more and understand it a little bit more. And at the same time, right, like crystals that are connected to so much light come from darkness, and that is also understanding how we ourselves in our own darkness, so our own human experience, our sadness, our depression, our anger, our hatred, Like we have to traverse into those spaces, through those spaces, to really find our light, to transmute it and to shift it into light. This is like an ancient old process. And we're just now really beginning to understand the importance of it. So it's not about let's positive way our thinking, like thinking positively, forcing ourselves to think positively or being kind when we don't actually feel it or mean it. Like there is a time and place for that, and like creating the frequency of affirmations, they've helped me a lot. But there's also this time when we must traverse into the cave, where we must go into our darkness to retrieve the light. And that's partly what this is about. It's also about your own internal knowledge and wisdom. That's what crystals represent. So what is the wisdom of your soul, and what purpose, and it comes back into your purpose, are you carrying? What is it that you want to do? What wisdom do you have? When will you allow yourself this expression? This no thing is extremely powerful. You can feel it. In some ways, you're afraid of it. There's this fear element with it because it's so mysterious and almost alien-esque, but there's this, and that's somewhat in the energy right now. You know, like we don't understand it. And so with things that we don't understand, we tend to fear. And so let's not choose to fear it. Let's just explore it and to try to understand it. And that's also over on this side of the moon. You know, we're about to have a second moon for the first time in a very, very long time from the asteroid belt around the sun. It's going to be entering our atmosphere October, I think, 6th, and it's going to be in our kind of following an elliptical, so not following the same path as our moon, but it's going to be following a large oval around our Earth, to where it's going to be our second moon. And so, you know, our personal moon that we've, you know, prayed to, looked at, you know, connect with so many magical and mysterious things, you know, definitely represents our intuition and such. But now we're going to have two. So it's going to shift the energy. Like the moon's energy really has an effect on our planet and our experiences. And I'm excited to see what the second moon brings, and that's part of this no thing kind of energy of like, let's just see what happens. This is kind of exciting. And things that we don't understand, they don't have to be bad, right? So another theme this month is your own personal expansion, moving into this crystal energy, moving into the possibility. Where are you being asked to expand more into? Like everyone's being called a little bit. Like everyone is being called. So where are you being called? You know, and to figure that out, we have to cultivate this practice. So if you haven't done that, let's do that. If you have done that, let's start expanding and practicing putting into action some of these feelings or these knowings that you have. It's time to act on them, right? It's time to share. It's time to be of service to each other. So if you're with somebody and you're getting a message, share it. Like we need to start participating and acting co-creatively together. And so that is a lot. There's a lot happening. There's a lot going on right now, and I really just want to send you so much love because it's not easy. There is a huge transformation happening right now within us and outside of us, and moving into a new line and way of being is not easy. Like I started with this video, we are oscillating back and forth, so, you know, just from a very personal level, I know how hard that is. Like our fears are real. Like those things did happen. Like I respect like what you're feeling or experiencing is true for you. Can you be open to the possibility though of a different way or of letting it go? And that's part of shedding the skin of this transformation. You're going to have to let it go. You're going to have to let go of the fear, even when you think that you need to be afraid. That's what you're being asked to. You're being asked to do probably the hardest thing that you've ever been asked to do. I've had to let go of lack. I've had to let go of starvation or let go of some of the behaviors even around that. And to like, let's say, what that means is, let's say I use the words, I used the example of starvation that I've been moving through. So what that might mean is that I might not always have control of having food with me, because that's almost this enabling. So I'm going to always have food with me wherever I go. And yes, it is important for me to feel safe, but it's also important for me to live in balance. So if it's moving me out of balance, let's say where my actions and my behaviors are all aligned around this safety, about me always having food, and it's affected my relationships, meaning like, no, I have to go home so I can eat, or I've got to make sure I have these things. If it's altering your relationships and your reality, it might be gone a little out of balance. And they're asking us to, can we let go of that fear? Can I not have food and still know I'm going to have food in an hour or two? Can I trust? Now, at first, that is a difficult thing. It is hard for me to move into that space, because in that space of letting go, I'm having to move into the discomfort and the pain of starvation. And that's what I've been avoiding this whole time. Now, this is a symbolism of any lesson. That could be anything. It could be having to trust others. It could be having to let go of being a victim. You know, we wear some of these things like armor, and also of pride. You know, these are our identities, and we're being asked to shift into a new identity. And by doing that, if you want to expand and grow and do all of these beautiful, miraculous things, you are going to have to let go of the old identity. And this isn't just a sentence or a saying. It's not easy. Like, you really are going to have to stop thinking like a victim or as somebody who is starved. You're going to have to start not feeling that way, and then also behaving in a new way, which isn't always easy. So, lots happening. This is the turning point. This is where, we things start getting a little bit, it's intense for the next couple months, but it is starting to get a little bit better. We have a lot of help. So tapping in, asking for help, being a little bit more co-creative in that way, meaning asking, please, receiving the help that is here for us, okay? So just saying, help, I need help releasing this, I need help with whatever, and reaching out even in a really physical way of, reaching out to people in your community or people in your own tribe to get help. I have a healer, I have people that see for me, and you're being asked to kind of reach out and ask for help yourself. So sending you so much love. I love this painting. If it calls to you and you want a print of it, there's a link down below. And if you haven't yet, please like the video, subscribe to it, and share it if you feel called. All right, until next time, namaste.